Hello, Mr. How are you? And welcome to the second part of our first session. In the first part, I believe we've talked about how sham news or fake news inflict real harm and real damage upon people's lives, and what happens when certain narratives of stories are upheld by the people. We've seen from the video that because the people, sustain the lies and sustained a certain narrative about the Chibok girl story, the government or the Nigerian government was reluctant or was unwilling to rescue or negotiate the rescue of these girls, because they didn't believe in the first place. They didn't, they didn't believe in the first place that they might have been kidnapped by a terrorist group. Now, here in this paragraph or in this extract, we'll be discussing some of the vocabulary related to talking about fake news. So say for example that you went to a job interview but you started telling some lies. Well, the person who was being interviewed, the interviewee, was talking about his experience in an interview in which he lied to the interviewer. So he said, I was once economical with the truth. I was once economical with the truth. Now, if you are economical with the truth, you're saying things that are partially true. Okay? You are, that's called, or this section, this part, this expression, for example, or, it's not an expression right here, it's a collocation, an adjective with its preposition. And here we have the be verb. So obviously this is an adjective. So he said, I was once economical with the truth. That's a euphemism. That's what we call a euphemism. Now, what's that? A euphemism is, that's a structure, or not a structure, that's a collocation on a word, a noun, or a verb. Most commonly, it's either a verb or an adjective that gives you the same meaning, but deflecting or avoiding using severe words. Like, say for example, like, I'd like to deliver a certain meaning, but I don't desire to use a word that is strong and might horrify the meaning. Say for instance, someone died. Well, you can say that he died, but the word die is severe and it's strong. It's not preferable to be used. What's preferable is to use a euphemism. Like, for example, he passed away. Okay? So when someone pass away, it's different or distinct to pass out. To pass out means to lose consciousness. To pass out means to lose consciousness. Let's say, for example, you were playing football and you hit your head, or you bashed your head against the ground. You were playing football. You were playing football and you bashed your head against the ground. This means that you hit your head hard against the ground. So you will lose consciousness. Repeat after me. Consciousness. 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 Pass out. Pass out. Pass out. Pass out. To lose consciousness. To lose consciousness. Okay? So to pass out means to lose consciousness, like the, يغمى عليك يعني بالعربي. Okay? So you were playing football and you bashed your head against the ground. This means that you hit your head hard against the ground. So as a result, you might lose consciousness. But that's pass out. Here we have pass away. Pass away means die. There is a complete distinction between both verbs, both phrasal verbs. So pass away is a euphemism. It's a word that delivers the same meaning, but it's less severe, less strong than the word die. Okay? يعني بنقول مثلا ايه توفى بدل مات. مات يعني لو تعتبرها كلمة قوية، انما توفى ما تعتبرها كلمة ايه يعني اخف وطأة شوية. مش عارف اخف وطأة في ايه، بس هي اخف وطأة وبتوصل برضو نفس المعنى. So he was trying to say that he lied. So he said, I was economical with the truth. This means I lied. On what? on a job application form, I lied about my employment record. My employment record. Okay, your employment record is the history that demonstrates where you were employed and when you were employed and when you left the job. Okay, so my employment record, for example, from August 2017 to August or to June 2018, I worked at English Capsules, for example. Afterwards, I worked in a factory for 2 months from August 2018 to October 2018. Afterwards, I've been a freelancer ever since. So that's your employment record. I talked up my skills. So repeat after me. I talked up my skills. I talked up my skills. I talked up my skills. So when you talk up your skills, you talk about them in a way that makes them sound more impressive, more formidable. While in fact they're not. Okay, so when you talk up your skills, like for example, I've only learned to use an application called SolidWorks. When I talk up my skills, I claim or I allege that I can use SolidWorks, AutoCAD, 3D Maya, and I've taken a course in the NDT, in non-destructive tests. So here I'm talking up my skills. I'm adding some lies to make them sound more impressive, when in fact, or while in fact, they're not. And I embellished. Repeat after me. Embellished. 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 So pay close attention here that there might be a subtle problem right here. I embellished, not embellished. That's a common mistake. Now here, the word embellish, that's a verb. To embellish something means, to add some details to make it sound more interesting. Or to add lies, in this case, to make it sound more interesting. So, I embellished my previous salary by a few thousands. This means that, my previous salary was what? £3,000? Okay. To gain leverage in the interview, or to force the interviewer to give me a higher salary, say for example 7,000, I embellished my previous salary. This means that I added a new value or another value to my previous salary. I said that it was £5,000 instead of saying that it was £3,000. So one more time. My previous salary was £3,000. I embellished my previous salary by a few thousands. I added a few thousands to my previous salary. For what purpose? To make it sound more interesting. So I said that it was £5,000 for a reason such as forcing the interviewer to give you a higher salary than £5,000. Say for example £7,000. Okay, so I embellished my previous salary by a few thousands. I added a few thousands to my previous salary. Now here there is a common problem. Embellish is the verb. So I can say for example, to embellish the salary. Okay, or to embellish, your skills. To talk, it's similar to talk up your skills. But here's the thing. Embellish is a verb that ends with an sh. That's a sh sound. Sh, sh, sh. Sh sound is a voiceless sound. The sh sound, sh, sh, sh. It's a voiceless sound. Put your hand on your neck or حط كده ايدك على حنجرتك. You'll find out that shh, it doesn't produce vibrations. This sound doesn't produce vibrations. This means that this sound, when you add an ed to this verb, the ed altogether will be pronounced as a t sound, not a d, not an id. It's a t sound. So I embellished. I embellished my salary by a few thousands. The ed here are pronounced as a t sound. Okay? So I embellished my previous salary by a few thousands. Oh, and I glossed the same problem here. Gloss. It's glass, glassed, glass, glassed. The last sound is s. So when I add an ed, the ed altogether are pronounced as a t sound. I'm not going to be talking about this problem in the future, but I'll just accentuate or pronounce the verb in a clearer manner to make you notice. Okay? So I glassed over one. So I glassed over one rather unpalatable truth. Repeat after me. An unpalatable truth. An unpalatable truth. Unpalatable. 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 Unpalatable here means difficult to accept because it's unpleasant. One more time. Unpalatable means difficult to accept because it's unpleasant. Okay? So, an unpalatable truth. Unpalatable truth. A truth that is difficult to accept because it's unpleasant. Okay? So, what happened? What's gloss over? To gloss over something means to deliberately avoid talking about it. To deliberately avoid talking about something. So, I was fired from my previous job. Okay? In the interview, I glossed over the fact that I was fired from my previous job. This means that I avoided talking about this fact deliberately, on purpose. Okay? Not accidentally, but deliberately. Okay? I didn't mention that I was fired from my previous job. Okay? So I glossed over one rather unpalatable truth. One rather unpalatable truth. So it's a fact or a truth. You know, here the word truth is a countable noun. It's a singular noun, so to speak. Namely, that I had been sacked from my last job. You use the adverb namely when you would like to mention like details about something. So here he said, I glossed over one rather unpalatable truth. So what unpalatable truth were you talking about or were you referring to? So he's gonna be mentioning, he will mention what unpalatable truth he was talking about. So he's using the adverb namely that I had been sacked or made redundant from my last job. You can, like, another example might be, I worked in various, or I worked, say for example, I worked in various places, yeah. Namely, you put a full stop, namely, and you start mentioning the places. Say for example, English Capsules, then I worked at a company called Megapack. So you are naming the places that you worked at. So, namely, we use it to describe facts about something, to start naming details about something. Okay, so, namely, that I'd been sacked or made redundant from my last job. If you'd like to add more details, you might add a comma and you might start adding more details about the rather unpalatable truth. Okay, but he's not going to be doing that. So repeat after me. Unpalatable, unpalatable, an unpalatable truth, an unpalatable truth, an unpalatable truth. Glossed over, glossed over, glossed over, glossed over. Namely, 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 namely. Sacked, sacked, sacked. That's a k sound. K sound is a voiceless sound, so I'm not going to be saying sacked, I'm going to be saying sacked. Sacked. Sacked means fired. Made redundant also means fire. So if you are made redundant from a job, you get fired from that job. Okay? So, namely that I had been sacked or made redundant from my last job. Okay. But trying to sustain the lies at the interview was a nightmare. To sustain the lies means to, you know, maintain them or keeping them continuing. So trying to continue the lies at the interview was a nightmare. Okay? Trying to continue the lies at the interview was a nightmare. Okay. My interviewer soon detected something was wrong. He detected something was wrong. He could notice that something was wrong. If you detect something, you notice it. Okay? So, my interviewer soon detected something was wrong. And a friendly chat, you can say, for example, a cordial chat. So cordial means friendly. Cordial means, I'm gonna be like giving it another color, so like this, distinguish between it and the following lexical collocation. So a cordial chat, repeat after me, a cordial chat, a friendly chat, a cordial chat, a cordial chat, a cordial chat, a cordial chat. So a cordial chat deteriorated into an awful interrogation. So if something deteriorates into something else, it becomes worse, or it develops into something worse. So the cordial chat or the friendly chat deteriorated into or developed into, and it's implied from the adjective or from the verb that the thing that it deteriorated into is something bad. يتدهور إلى. So deteriorated into, to develop into something bad. What's the bad thing that it developed into? An awful interrogation. So repeat after me. Sustain, 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 sustain the lies, sustain the lies, sustain the lies, sustain the lies. Detected, 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 detected. So he detected or noticed something was wrong. A cordial chat, a cordial chat, a cordial chat, a cordial chat. Deteriorated into, deteriorated into, deteriorated into, deteriorated into, deteriorated into. So we said deteriorated into an awful interrogation. An interrogation is like when you arrest a criminal and you start asking him questions in a severe manner to get the facts out of him, or to force him to confess his crime, for example. Say, for example, someone committed a crime, killed a woman, and I'd like him to confess, I'd like him to admit that he actually killed that woman. So I'll arrest him. I don't have any proof, but I'll arrest him. I'll have him, or I will remand him into the police station, or I'll take him into custody, take him into the police station, and I'll start asking him severe questions, questions in a severe manner. Why? To force him to admit, to force him to confess that he actually killed that woman. That's an interrogation. Okay? Repeat after me. Interrogation. Interrogation. So here, to pronounce these tricky words, we can divide each word into syllables, or we can divide it into parts. So deter, 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 you rated, deter, you rated, deteriorated, deteriorated, deteriorated. Cordial, 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 cordial. Interrogation, 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 interrogation. Alright? And the verb from interrogation is interrogate. Okay? Here, for example, you can say, so, police officer kept interrogating or you can say like as a verb, as a raw verb, interrogated the criminal for 5 hours. So the verb itself is interrogate. The verb itself is interrogate, 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 interrogate. Okay, the verb itself is interrogate, 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 interrogate. So the police officer interrogated the criminal for 5 hours. Okay, so and after a series after a series of awkward after a series of awkward questions, he caught me out. Caught me out means what? Means, you know, he made me say something that you know, told him that I was lying, or that proved that I was lying. Say for instance, like he asked me again what salary I was taking at my previous job. So I said, no, I was taking £5,000. Really? I thought you said you were taking only £4,000. What? So he caught me out. So he asked me a question that made me say something that proved that I was lying. He asked me again about my salary. I told him in the second time £5,000, but I had told him in the first time that I was taking £4,000. So I was lying. He caught me out. Okay, so repeat after me. Deteriorated, deteriorated into. Interrogation, interrogation, interrogation. Awkward, 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 awkward questions, awkward questions. He caught me out. He caught me out. And I felt utterly humiliated. I felt what? Utterly humiliated. So when you humiliate someone بالعربي كده عشان ايه يعني نشرحها بالعربي يذل شخص. So to humiliate someone, تذل شخص, or to make him feel embarrassed, to make him feel to make him lose respect, to make him feel embarrassed. All right, تذله. So to humiliate someone. All right. So when you yell at your wife in the street, you humiliate her. Okay, humiliate, 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 humiliate. So I felt utterly. Utterly means completely, absolutely. It's completely. No, not absolutely. It's completely. So I felt utterly humiliated, 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 and needless to say مش محتاج أقول. Needless to say, I don't need to say, or obviously. Okay, another word that you might be interested in that's similar to obviously. I'm gonna be using a new slide. I'm gonna be needing a new slide. So, needless to say, obviously, or saliently, 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 saliently. Now this word, that's an adverb. It's commonly used in IELTS writing essays. Okay, obviously that's a neutral verb. It's not formal, it's not informal, it's neutral, it's commonly used. It's not preferable to be used in an IELTS writing essay, so we use words like saliently, and we also use words like evidently, 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 evidently. If something is salient or evident, it's obvious, and these words are less commonly used, more formal, and more likely to be used in an IELTS writing essay, more likely to occur in an IELTS reading topic. So I felt utterly humiliated. Needless to say, I've never done it since. Okay? These are the transcriptions of words that I don't remember exactly. That's awkward, 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 That's the word awkward. And here we have the word series. Series, of course, like this is not the phonemic transcription, but it's a makeshift way to show you how these words are pronounced, to remind you of how these words are pronounced. That's not the actual phonemic transcription. Series, 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 and right here, you know, where's that? Where's that ch sound? Well, I don't recall exactly where it was like located, but a ch sound is pronounced, the ch is commonly pronounced, or in many cases, most cases, is pronounced as a t sound and a sh sound. So it's ch, ch. The ch letter is most of the times, or in most cases, pronounced as a t and a sh. It's not only a sh sound, it's a t sound combined with a sh sound. It's ch, 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 ch. That would be all for this part, and at the end of this presentation you'll find some exercises that I demand that you solve, and I demand that you send me the answers on WhatsApp. I've given you an essay and I demanded that you summarize it and prepare a presentation about it, consisting of the thoughts and notions contained within the essay itself and the language contained within the essay itself. I demanded that you prepare the presentation using the thoughts, or by utilizing the thoughts and notions contained within the essay and the language contained within the essay, to calculate the accuracy of assimilating some language contained within some extract. You haven't done that already. I demand that you do that, and I demand, assertively demand that you solve the exercises contained within the last slide of this presentation, and I'll be seeing you in the next part. Thank you.